What is up, guys? We are back for another episode of the Motivation Everything Show, where every single week on Tuesday night, we hop on here with a very special guest to drop some fire for all of you guys. So what I want you to do for everybody that's tuning in live right now is I want you to drop live below in the comments section. Let me know who's tuning in live. And if you're watching the replay, I want you to drop replay below and let me know who gets to catch this on the replay. Tonight, I have a very, very, very special guest, a near and dear friend to me, Mr. Justin Stevens. Tonight, we're going to talk about starting a business, sales, networking, and so much more with all of you. So help me introduce our very special guest. See, Justin, after spending 10 years running a sales training organization, he left to start his own company. Through that journey, he has had to overcome many obstacles and struggled through failed business attempts before finding the right fit for his skill set. And maybe a lot of you are feeling that same way right now. He now invests in multiple companies and helps them with coaching, consulting, and mentoring all around sales to make a bigger impact in the world. Help me introduce Mr. Justin Stevens. My guy, welcome, Justin.
I am so honored to be here, Cody. This is a ton of fun. Thank you so much for having me on.
Man, I am honored to have you on. Guys, one thing that's super special about Justin is his personality is incredible. His energy is incredible. And I know tonight together, we are going to bring some fire for all of you. So Justin, I'm going to quit talking and hand it over to you. Tell us, who is Justin and what is your story?
Hey, thank you so much. I'd say first and foremost, Justin is a husband and a father. Secondly, business investor and entrepreneur through and through. My story, I love my story. So it starts when I'm 13 years old. So 13, little short guy. And my dad just bought a Sandler training franchise, which is a sales training organization. And we lived an hour outside of town. And so every day driving to and from school and work, because we all went to town for both, he was listening to these tapes, like, wheels, right? So he's listening to these tapes. And I asked him one day, Dad, what do you do? And he looked at me and he laughed a little bit and he said, I'd rather show you than tell you. And so this summer between 8th and 9th grade, is the first time I ever went through sales training. So I spent 2 hours every Wednesday morning. I had a sweet clip-on tie. I'm in a room with...
I remember those.
Right? They're awesome. So I'm in this room with 40 and 50-year-old business owners, like way out of my league, way out of my comfort zone. But it radically changed my life. My biggest lesson when I was 13 was what's the worst that can happen, right? As a kid, you think of asking a girl out to a dance and it's like, this is terrifying. But what's the worst that could happen? She says no, you wet your pants. I mean, it's not that bad. So that's my first lesson from sales training was get over yourself. Even the worst case scenario really isn't gonna be that bad, right? And trust me, we all make worst case scenario way worse than it ever would be, especially when it comes to sales. When you're starting a conversation, it's super awkward, right? Guess what? Totally. It's not good for everybody. You're not special. So that was my first foray into sales training. After college, I knew I loved what my parents did. I worked with them through the summers. I got to see the impact we made. So after college, I got started in the family business. And I dove in. I started as admin and I worked my way up to coaching and training and consulting. and I'm working with tons of salespeople and business owners, and I learned a ton. And one of my biggest lessons learned through that entire, I have so many, but the one that sticks with me the most is setting an agenda, right? People pay attention if they know what they need to pay attention to. So you've got to set the agenda in any conversation, set the groundwork for what we're doing together. And if you do that, it makes it so much easier to keep the conversation moving forward. Whereas if you just say, hey, here I am, let's get going. No one knows what's going to happen. No one knows what's going to happen at the end of the call. Like, there's so much wishy-washy, mother may I feelings out there that it stops the progress. So one of my biggest recommendations for anybody in that sales world, you got to figure out, what is the agenda? What is the purpose of this meeting? And if there's no purpose, that's fine. Know it up front, right? So it was in, what was the date? February 23rd, 2018. I went to an event called Funnel Hacking Live, which radically changed my life. I started following this entrepreneur named Russell Brunson. I'm sure some of you have heard of him. An incredible businessman, and he helps people understand how to market. And as the retirement plan for our company, I wanted to build a company that could scale past me marketing, right? So I go to this event and I sat down and I absorbed everything I could. And one of the key things, two key things happened. One, I realized there's a way to go about doing business that will help you grow past your comfort zone and your own capabilities, right? It's that way to scale, and you've got to figure that out. So that was a big light bulb moment for me, is if you don't build it with that in mind, it will never show up. The second thing that was transformational for me was this guy, you may have heard of him. His name's Tony Robbins. He was a speaker.
Good old Tony.
Tony, it was amazing.
Oh my God, his events, just life-changing.
Life-changing. And he came on stage and did his thing. And I was blown away. Like, literally, he got up, talked for 4 hours, and at the end, I ran to the back of the room. I gave him my credit card. I was like, I've got to go to your next event, right? Life-changing. And so that was my biggest lesson from that experience, was take action. Far too many people think through everything. And I'm not saying don't think through it, but if you are not regularly taking action and moving forward on something, chances are you're stuck in analysis paralysis. And I know fact, right? I know so many people who are waiting to get everything in line and ready. And as they're doing it, all of a sudden they look back and it's been 2 years. Time is your most valuable asset. Time does not equal money. I promise you, you can always make more money. You can always find a way to generate more revenue. You can never create the second you just lost listening to me. Now, I hope it's a good investment, but that second is gone, right? So time is your most valuable asset. And the longer you stay focused on making sure it's perfect, the longer you're putting off the result that you want to get, right? Ooh. So you gotta take action.
The longer you're taking to make sure it's perfect, the longer you're putting off the result you're trying to get. Hope you guys wrote that down.
100%. Because it happens all the time, right? You've got to go out there and again, it really goes back to that very first lesson I learned when I was 13. What's the worst that can happen, right? Let's say you launch that product that you're not quite ready for, or you don't think is quite perfect. Just launching it doesn't mean anything. Did you hear that? Just because you launch something doesn't mean anything. I've launched my own products to crickets, right? You spend hours putting something together. You're doing all the marketing, the promotion, and then you're like, it's here. Ta-da! Come give me your money. And you know what happens? Nothing. That's part of starting a business. I promise you. Everybody goes through it. Cody, have you ever had an experience?
Oh, I've had it a few times. Let's not talk about it. Yes, I've had my fair share of flops.
It sucks, but at least you freaking did it.
And every time you do it, you get better.
100%. You get so much better just by putting yourself out there. And so that's one of the things you've got to do. If you want to be successful in business, you've got to make decisions quick and then make them the right decision, right? Don't focus on having all the answers. You only need about 70, 80% of the answers to make the right decision. So decisions fast, and it's a decision tree. You can always branch back to what you were before. So after this whole event, I got to go to Tony Robbins' event. It was like 6 months later, and it radically transformed my life. The most important thing I learned was I am a power plant. Cody's a power plant. He shows it every single week, right? You are on here and you're bringing the heat. You're bringing the
Let's go, baby.
Woo! I love it. But you get to create that, right? It's not something that's just there. Now, Cody, would you be real with me for a second?
Absolutely.
Do you ever feel like, gosh, dang it, I don't want to be on right now?
You know what? Actually, yeah. I mean, I wouldn't say all the time, but for sure. Dude, I make a video every single day. I do this show every single week. And there's times I'm exhausted and I don't feel like doing it. But you know what? Every time I do it, I never regret that I did it.
Exactly. See, and I love you, Cody, because you've owned that. You may not call it a power plant, but you've owned that you own the energy. Whether I want to or not, I can create that energy. I can pull myself up and I can show up on fire, no matter if my dog just got ran over, right? Because we have to. And so I learned that is me. I get to own that. And you get to own your energy too. Your energy doesn't just show up. I don't drink coffee. And that may surprise you. You
think he's always on it if you get to know him well, but he brings the fire.
Right? And I bring it because I know I can. And it impacts everything in my life. Everything. Right? And so that's one thing. If you want to be successful in business, you have to learn to own your energy. You have to embrace it and use it to channel yourself into wherever you want to go, right? It's not just one thing, but whatever you want to do, if you bring the energy, you will be successful. I promise you, right? When it comes to sales, when it comes to marketing, when it comes to watching videos, how fun would it be if I sat here and talked to you?
Yeah, how would you guys enjoy this show if, me and Justin just talked like this the whole time?
It would be.
But what if we talk like this and we bring the fire, we bring the energy, and we bring the heat, and it's contagious?
It's so true. And so that's the person you need to show up in. You need to show up as, because your family sees it, your employees see it, your clients see it, and that's what's they're attracted to. One of the reasons people should work with Cody is freaking amazing, is because he will teach you how to own your own energy. And I know he can do it because he does it every freaking day.
Peak state, baby. Let's go.
Exactly. So once you figure out how to own your energy, the next thing you've got to do is figure out how to be you. See, up until this point, up until going to UPW 2018, I always worked with my dad. I love my dad. He's amazing, but he's my dad, and his style is vastly different from my style. And I thought, in order for me to be successful, I needed to be my dad. And here's the simple truth. The world does not need another Jim Stevens. The world needs a fucking Justin Stevens, right? You've got to own yourself, whoever that is. And I'm not saying be a wild, crazy energy guy like me and Cody. Be you. The world doesn't need another Cody. It doesn't need another Justin. The world needs you. So just own that. And if you own that, it will make a huge impact in your business. So fast forward after UPW to October 2018, I was implementing all the stuff I was learning from Russell, putting together one of these challenges, sales boot camp. I had this whole plan. It was laid out. I was so excited. And then we got the call. See, Sandler is a franchise, and a franchisor gets to create the rules that the franchisees must abide by. And I was breaking some of those rules with what I was doing because it's an older company. They really weren't built for the internet age. And so as I'm marketing, as I'm putting my content out there, they didn't like it. So we got a cease and desist letter. And that's when I said, oh, I've spent so much time working on this and now I've got to stop. I can't even let it fail. I just stop. So that's when I said, you know what? It is your sandbox. Yes, you get to pick the rules, but I get to pick if I want to play. And so I said, Mom and Dad, I love you to death. I'm leaving you. I'm going to go build my own business because I'm meant for a bigger impact of this. And I did. And my parents were incredibly supportive, and they still are to this day. And so as I'm going through this whole process, as I'm working through it all, I realized, you know what? The common factor in all of the major milestones in my life have been live events. Live events change lives, bar none. If you are not going to 2 or 3 live events a year, I'm telling you, you're leaving money on the table because it will radically shift your business and your personal life. And let me tell you, your personal life is your business, right? Nothing from your personal life doesn't infect. I actually like that. Doesn't infect your business, right? Good or bad. So I go into all these events and I realized, you know what? Live events change lives. I want to promote live events. And I had this idea for unboxing events. So this is my first business venture, completely solo. I'd done other little things here and there that never worked. But then again, I was never really into them, right? You know what I'm talking about.
You got a list of those.
So I'm like, all right, I'm going all in. So I went to Date with Destiny, which is another Tony Robbins program, which incredibly impactful. And I interviewed about 15 other attendees before Date with Destiny and after Date with Destiny. What was their experience like? What did they learn? What did they go into it looking for? What did they want coming out of it? Right? I went deep. I tried to figure out where are they at right now and where do they want to go? So after all that, I created a webpage. And my idea was Yelp for live events, because you can find a review on a company. You can find reviews on people inside companies, but the only real reviews you find on company events are reviews that the company themselves puts out as marketing. So my mission, I'm going to connect the world with the right live event to change their life. It's going to be a software platform. We're going to make a huge impact on the world. And I went all in. At the time, I lived in Boise, Idaho. We sold our house. We moved from Boise, Idaho to Orlando, Florida. I closed all my retirement accounts. I put everything into this idea. And it was going to be a software platform, but me being the genius I am, thought, software is not very lucrative at first. So instead, I'm going to start with a coaching program. And so I went out and started unboxing events, and we did a virtual event for free with a $100 upsell that led to a $300 live event ticket that led to a $25,000 coaching package. That's what we call the value ladder, right? And so I was going to walk everybody up. And so my plan was foolproof. Like, I want you to know, I was already a billionaire when I came up with this idea. So I went all in. I hired an amazing team to put it all on, do all the graphics. I hired a team to run Facebook ads. We invested like $60,000 just in Facebook ads. Like, we spent it all. At the end of the day, my free event netted a grand total of $8,000. That's it. We had 2 people buy a ticket to our live event. One of them was my mother. Like, I failed epically. And the mistake I made that I want to encourage you, if you are starting a business, don't do what I did. I started at the bottom of the value ladder. I started with a lead magnet going to a coaching program, right? In hindsight, I should have done what I already knew. I should have gone straight to the $25K coaching package and sold those. I would have had a vastly different outcome had I focused on that. But instead, I focused on all these little activities that do not generate a lot of revenue. It takes a ton of time. The sales process is extremely long if you're trying to educate and work someone up a value ladder. So my recommendation, as you're starting a business, think of how can you charge someone the most you possibly can in order to serve them at the highest level. Because here's what happens. As entrepreneurs, have you ever heard the saying, Cody, you need to stop trading time for money?
All the time. That's why I got into entrepreneurship to begin with.
Exactly. Thank you. Everybody says it. And so this is what new entrepreneurs do. They say, I am never going to trade my time for money again. Because I am better than that. I am a freaking entrepreneur. Instead, I am going to trade my time for no money. That's right.
Drops Mike.
Right? We do it. We spend hours and hours out doing stuff, creating stuff. I'm going to go down this tree. Nope, that didn't work. I'm going to go over here and dig a hole. Nope, that. Because we don't want to trade our time for money. So after this whole process of trading my time for no money and my money for a lot of other stuff that didn't help make me money yet, I had a realization. And it was July 3rd, 2019. It was right after we had finished our move to Orlando, Florida. I talked to my wife and I looked at our budgets and I told her, honey, I love you. You are the most amazing support system anyone could ever wish for. And I've got to do something else because I can't pay rent next month. Literally dead broke. And I just moved to a new city, no network, like, now's the time to figure my shit out, right?
If there's ever a time to figure it out, it's then. So what'd you do?
So I created what I now affectionately call as the 4-step process to starting a business. So the first thing I recommend anybody who's trying to start a business do is look at what are you really, really good at? Like, what's something that's super easy for you? And people are like, wow, that's amazing. How did you do that? Wow, could you teach me? Right? Look at that. This process, I call it the unscalable offer, by the way. So it's the 4-step unscalable offer. So first, what are you good at? Because that's your skill set. Use that. Don't go try and, when I started this live events thing, I went and got a partner who knew live events. I just loved live events. I was not an expert by any means, right? So go figure out what you're really, really good at. Second step, who has money that you could help? Keyword, I don't know if I emphasized it, has money, right? I can help a ton of people and I will gladly help you. Like, message me on Facebook. I will help in any way I can. But I don't sell to people who don't have money because it takes a lot of work to not get anything, right? So you've got to look at, first, how can you help someone? Second, who has money that you should target? Third, this is crazy. What's the offer? What can you do for them? So when you're putting together your offer, very important. Number one, there's 3 different types of offers you can make. One is a do-it-yourself. Here, I created a course. You can go through it. You can learn it. You can do it. Go you, right? Second, done with you. I created a course. I've got this process. I'm going to coach you. I'm going to mentor you. I'm going to work with you through the process. Third, done for you. Listen, you don't have time. Give me money. I'll give you time. I will do this for you. So if you're starting a business, done for you is where you want to start. Because entrepreneurs who have money buy time. That's what they buy. Whenever they hire someone, when they're looking at something, they buy time, right? So that's why I would recommend never starting with a coaching program if you need to generate money now. Right?
You know, and I'll chime in here. It's so interesting that you're speaking into this right now. I started my business around a done with you model. And I just recently implemented a done for you. And I will say, without revealing too much, that my cash flow has gone way up, having a done for you offer. And I highly encourage anybody getting into any space, starting a business, entrepreneurism, and even if you want to coach and mentor people, to find a niche and have a done for you service or offer, or something that you can do for your clients that solves their problems. What that does is it rings the cash register. It gets you cash flow, and cash is king. Cash is oxygen to a business. And also it gives you credibility in your space. And then you can go teach people how to do what you did or whatever you want to teach on. Sorry, I just had to say that, Justin.
I love it. And it's so true. Like, I talk to so many people who want to have a coaching business. But the problem is, coaching is the hardest thing to sell. I literally spent my entire career. That's what we did at Sandler, selling coaching. It is the hardest thing to sell because you have to get someone to give up a lot of money and a lot of their time, right? When done for you, you can get them to give up even more money and you don't need their time. Like, it's so much easier to sell. So when you're putting together your offer, figure out how can you say, listen, this is my skill set. It's not yours, and I'm not going to teach it to you. You just hire me and I do it for you, right? It makes it so much easier, right? So that's the third step. So first step, what are your skill sets?
Yeah, what are you good at?
Who are you going to sell to? Third step, what is the offer? What are you going to do for them? Those first three steps, you should be able to complete in a day. Okay? In a day. One day, right? If you're taking more than a day, you're thinking too much about it. You need to go with your gut, trust your gut, and take action. So, fourth step, this is very important. Okay? I want you to make a list right now. Everybody write this down. Website, business card, logo, all that fun stuff that makes you feel like a business. Don't do any of it. None of it freaking matters.
Thank you for saying that.
It's so true. People are like, I need a lead magnet. I need a funnel. I need a website. No, you need freaking cash. That's what you need. And you know how you get cash? You freaking sell stuff. So get on LinkedIn, start building relationships, start nurturing the relationships you already have. And one thing I always recommend is go to the people who already know, like, and trust you. Most people, when they're starting a business, they know 3 or 4 other business owners that if they just went to them and said, hey, this is what I'm doing. I'm brand new. I'm looking for help. I'm looking for the first people to believe in me so I can really dive in and make an impact. Would you be open to working with me? Most of them would say yes, right? First client I got after this whole transition was a friend who I'd known. They literally said to me, Justin, I don't know what you'll do, but we'll pay you $5,000 a month to do it. You know what I said? Yes. I said, thank you. Right? And I took my skill set and I put it in their business, and we have doubled year over year. And this year will probably 4x. Like, it's a great investment on their part and my part, because I got to feed my family, right? And so as entrepreneurs, we get so caught up in what's sexy. Ooh, check out my logo. It's so nice. I love it. No one gives a rat's behind, right? You've got to focus on how the heck are you going to generate revenue? How are you going to pay the bills? How are you going to provide for your family? Right? This is the unsexy part of business. And guess what? It really doesn't go away, right? You're
Never.
Constantly going to be having problems like this, right? My clients are growing rapidly and it's super fun. But guess what? We still have cash flow problems, right? There's
I mean, the more money you make, the more you scale, the more you grow, the bigger your team gets, the more your overhead becomes, and cash is king. And if it's not flowing, then there's a problem.
Exactly. And so that's why on this journey, I want to just encourage you guys all to take stock of where you're at. Because here's the other crazy thing about sales. So it is easier to sell a $10,000 product than a $1,000 product. It's easier to sell a $500,000 product than a $10,000 product. Now, the sales cycle is longer. Like, there's more to go through, but it's way easier. And so one of the things I look at when I'm looking to invest in a company or come in and partner with a company is, one, how much can we charge? How can we make sure we're focused on people who have money, right? Because if we're not already focused there, none of this other stuff is going to work. It's, yes, you can make money selling a $5 widget or a $5 course or whatever. It's just really hard money to make. It's way easier. One of the companies I'm a partner in, we just closed a $1.2 million project. It's a big project. It's super fun. It's super exciting. And it's super profitable, right? And we're solving a huge problem for our client. Huge problem. And its payback period is like 1.5 years. Like, everybody wins in this scenario. And that's where I think people get stuck a lot of the time is, how do I go about doing this? And it really comes down to, how do you look at sales? Are you a missionary or are you a mercenary? See, a mercenary is in it for the money, right? They're in sales. They're selling stuff because they want the money. A missionary is in it because they know beyond a shadow of a doubt that they can have a huge impact working with this company. And if this company did not hire me, it would be a mistake because I'm going to work way harder and I'm going to do way better than my competition ever will. Right? And if you have that mindset,
preach, brother,
it's going to help everything. Because you can go in and you can make a huge impact. You can change lives. I know people who save marriages. I know people who radically transform businesses. I know people who have saved lives because of what they've been able to do within a business. And if you start at the top, everything trickles down. Right? I know some people don't believe in the trickle effect, but I am here to tell you, the culture in any organization starts at the very top.
It starts with the leadership. Absolutely. You set the pace of the whole pack.
Exactly. And most entrepreneurs want their entire team to win. Right? Yes, I know there's some bad apples out there who are like, screw them, we'll take all the money. But that's 5%. Just like salespeople. There are some really crappy salespeople, right? You have bought something, I guarantee, in spite of the salesperson, not because of it. You needed the product and you're like, wow, you're a giant jerk. I would never want to hang out with you ever, but I need what you're selling. Can I buy it from the receptionist? Can she get the commission? Right? There are crappy salespeople out there, but only like 5% of salespeople are really crappy. 95% of them are great people that want to help. They truly believe in what they're doing. But those 5% give the 95% a bad rap, just like 5% of business owners give 95% of business owners the bad name of greedy warlord or whatever the name.
Warlord.
I don't know. So as you're starting a business, though, You've got to just focus on cash and do not. So I love marketing. I told you I'm a big fan of ClickFunnels. I love what they teach. Until you're doing a couple $100,000 in revenue and like $100,000 in net profit, you really don't need to go down that journey, that path, in my opinion. Granted, I've different experience than a lot of people. I'm sure there are people who will say you're silly if you ever get on a sales call. I just disagree. I think it's way easier to get on a sales call, close a couple big deals, and then use that money to fund your lead gen process.
Absolutely. And to get that cold traffic going through a funnel to get higher conversion. I mean, it depends on what your business model is, what your service or your product that you're selling is. But I would 100% actually agree with you. In my own experience, I've actually built out 2 funnels now. I haven't had a lot of success with funnels, but I'm also not dumping enough money into paid ads to funnel cold traffic through the funnel. And the only way that you actually get conversion in a funnel that actually pays off and gives you ROI is if you're putting enough money into the ads to get traffic into the funnel to convert into a paying client, and then hopefully lead them up a ladder to sell them to a high ticket, when it's a lot easier just to get on calls like this and sell high ticket.
Exactly. And that's honestly, it's the dream. The dream is to wake up and, oh, look, I got $500,000 last night. That's great, right? It's the dream. And people do it all day long, but they don't start there. So when you're starting your business, don't think you're going to get there. Because trust me, I thought I would. Right? I told you, I sold my house.
So Justin, I'm curious to redirect the conversation back, because we've hit on a lot of points here. And when you first started in business, you failed. You failed a few times. I failed a few times. And I want to touch on that point real quick. There are a lot of people that are in that first dreaming and fantasizing phase of a business and entrepreneurship. And they want to build this thing or this business or this idea or this concept. And to everyone, when you have a business idea, to me, to you, to everyone, it's the idea. Yeah. It's the $1 billion idea. This is what's going to change my entire life. It's going to make the greatest impact in the world. And you know what? For some people, that first try, they knock it out of the park and they hit a home run and they live an incredible life off of that and they impact the lives of millions. For most people, like myself and like you, we get up there, we're ready, we swing and we miss. And we fall flat on our face and we lose time and we lose money and we get frustrated. And for somebody that's never been through that process and got back up and kept going, what advice would you give them?
I love the question. So there's one thing, well, really 2 things are necessary to make any business on the face of this planet succeed: time and money, right? Most people run out of one of those. Generally, it's money, right? So if you're like me and Cody, I believe like you, and we don't have deep pockets, the first thing you've got to do is figure out, what is my base income, right? How much do I need to make to live? And then you need to create something, an offering that will generate that much revenue on a monthly basis. See, another key part of starting your company, reoccurring revenue is king. Because if I have to sell, let's say I charge $1,000 for my course. If I have a course that I charge $1,000 for and my monthly nut to crack is $10,000, I have to sell 10 courses this month. And then next month comes around and I've got to sell 10 more.
10 more.
And next month and 10 more. Whereas if I create a done for you offering off of my $1,000 course and I charge, say, $5,000 a month, I can sell 2. and I can feed my family for an entire year. Now, you got to service the heck out of them. You've got to do what you said you would do. But see how that's a lot easier than 10 and 10 and 10 and 10, right? So that's the first thing I would do is make sure you know how you're going to take care of your financial needs.
So
right?
getting that base income, like how much money, when you're going to start a business for yourself, guys, how much money a month do you need to make to get by? What is that number every month? So then you know what reoccurring revenue you have to produce. Because here's the thing when starting a business, and learn from my mistakes, learn from Justin's mistakes. Didn't build reoccurring revenue, made a ton of money, then didn't make a ton of money, spent all the money I made reinvesting in the business. Next month, back at square one, trying to sell my ass off. Whereas if you had sold something that was reoccurring every month, then that overhead is covered. And if your overhead is covered, you're a lot more stress-free and you get to focus on building the business.
100%. And the other thing is you've got to be in the game long enough to win. Right. So you mentioned the entrepreneur who hit it out of the park on their first go. I think I ran into them once ever.
Maybe.
Maybe
Maybe they didn't tell us about the failures they had before. They just wanted to brag about the win.
Exactly. Most entrepreneurs fail and fail and fail and fail and fail. And they're just stubborn. And I love them. They're awesome. And I'm that way too.
Guys, can we just show this guy some love? Show Justin some love. Don't you love his energy, his passion, his personality that he brings? If you're enjoying this show right now, you're enjoying Justin, you're enjoying the value that he's bringing, light it up, hit the love, hit the like button, drop some comments, let him know that we appreciate having him on. I just had to show you some love, brother.
I appreciate that. But that is 100% the truth. Right? You will fail. Not if, when. See, to be totally transparent, when I started my business, that unboxing events that I was so excited for, and I invested everything, I thought there was no way I would fail. I was like, I've got 10 years of sales training and coaching. I'm a business consultant. I'm handsome. I'm sophisticated, right? I thought I had everything. I thought there was no way this would fail. And it failed so splendidly. Like I do not regret it at all. I learned so much more than I ever did in college, working with other entrepreneurs. There's something about the School of Hard Knocks that really knocks a lesson into you. And I learned it. Right? And I needed to, because if I hadn't learned it there, I would have gotten into a bigger opportunity and it would have failed epically. And speaking of unboxing events, I am so glad it failed. Like, it was such a huge blessing because guess what happened 6 months, just 6 months after it failed? COVID. You know what happened to the event industry when COVID happened? Like, even if I had success, I would have built up a team. I would have built up my overhead. I would have been doing a lot of stuff, and all my revenue would have dried up in a month. Not a matter of months, in a month, right?
But I want to talk about what you hit on earlier, and maybe you're going there with this. So you've mentioned Russell Brunson a few times.
Yep.
And for those of you that don't know, Russell Brunson owns a company called ClickFunnels. And funnels are basically a sales web page that is designed with copywriting to take people through it to get you to buy things. It's a funnel that you funnel traffic into, and it turns into a paying customer or a client. And he's built an entire culture around his company. He's knocked it out of the park. He is an incredible guy with an incredible company. And I do admire him a lot. And I just wanted to say, Russell Brunson said something that really stuck with me at Nicholas Bailey's BDB Live 4.0 that we got to watch not too long ago. Mm-hmm. He said in business, you have to endure through the rut. And if you endure long enough, eventually you will succeed.
Yep.
And I know that's true. I know that's true because I've been in that rut a few times and I just kept looking up. Adrian Boycell says, look up. And I live my life by that. And I just keep on trucking along. And I tell every one of my clients I work with, endure through the rut. And if you endure long enough, you will succeed. So Justin, you've endured through that rut. Tell us a little bit about that. And what's on the other side?
So for me, the most important thing, like as I've been on my journey, it's been truly amazing. And I've even pivoted since that business failed. I started a lead gen agency, and that was my unscalable offer. And I grew that super fast. And then COVID hit and it knocked my teeth in, right? And as I went through that rut, like you said, I had to take stock of where do I want my life to be? What do I want my life to look like? And I love business. Business is my passion. Like, it's so much fun. I love the risk. I love the reward. I love being a part of the team. Like, one of the things I learned is I don't want to go it alone. I want partners. I want other people that we can struggle together, and together we can make this huge impact. And so as I was looking at it, I realized that's the life I'm going to create. Why am I waiting to create it then? And why can't I do it now? And I've made some huge shifts. So now I'm an owner in multiple different companies, right? And I've figured out, how can I take where I want to be in 40 years or 20 years and make it a reality today? And that only came through going through those ruts and continuing to struggle. And now I love what I do. Today has been insane. I've been back to back to back meetings all day long. And tomorrow's the exact same. And guess what? I'm excited about it. It's like,
it's not work because you love what you do and you're doing what you love.
Exactly. And yeah, there's crappy days. But guess what? There's always going to be crappy days.
So I want to redirect us because we are getting limited on time. We haven't hit on the power of networking for your business. So I want to throw to you, why is networking so important to a business owner?
Oh my God. So you are building a business for one reason, right? Yeah, you want to build a business, you want to create income and all that. But ultimately, this business is an asset that you want to either sell or own without having to do anything, right? That's my dream. A lot of people I talk to, that's the dream.
That's the intentionality you guys should have if you're starting a business, by the way. Some people don't think about that with getting a business, but always think to begin with the end in mind. Why am I starting this business? Besides just making money and freedom and all that crap you're going to find out in building business, you're going to work your fucking ass off anyways. Excuse my language. Are you building it to sell it and retire? Or are you building it so that it just makes you revenue passively?
Exactly. And entrepreneurs are the only group of people who will work 90 hours a week to avoid a 40-hour work week. Like, legit, if all you're in it for is the money, get a job. Like, I'm here to tell you, there's easier money out there. Get a sales
I will say
job.
though, when you're waking up, building your own business, and it's something you're truly passionate about, I've had 120-hour weeks, and I didn't care.
Yeah,
because I loved what I was doing.
100%. So, but your network is your most valuable asset. So, as a business professional, if you are not on LinkedIn, shame on you. LinkedIn is the most powerful networking tool, in my opinion, in the world, right? And if you look at it, your most powerful network is not the friends and family you spend time with, right? The best introductions, the best connections come from people that you said hi to at a conference. And you're like, oh, that's interesting. That's great. And then you move on. And a month later or a year later, you're like, you know what? I think I need that person. Or I think that person needs to talk to this person. See, if you don't cultivate your network, you cannot use your network to improve the lives of everyone around you. I absolutely love introducing people. Like, if you want to get great at referrals, get great at giving referrals. But I love introducing people, and I will introduce anyone to anyone if I can, because I know it could change their lives, buyer or seller. See, when people work together, this is my favorite thing about business. What I love the most is there is no loser, right? Yes, I speak in absolutes, but I get it. There are some shady people out there that take advantage. I'm not talking about those. I'm talking about business owners who are families just like me, just like you, right?
Business is created to solve a problem.
Exactly. And so if you can connect two people, both of them will forever remember that, right? So on LinkedIn, I connect right now with 50 business brokers every single day. And those business brokers, I'm reaching out and sharing, hey, this is the type of companies I'm looking to acquire. Do you have any? Do you know any? Just this last week, I got 3 new potential acquisitions that could be a great fit for our companies.
Speaking of that, my friend's a business broker, and when I get off here, I'm going to link you up with them.
Perfect. I love it. See, and it's little stuff like that, right? It's so easy to make an introduction. And so, hyperboles. What if someone came up to you and said, you know what? You're pretty cool. I'm going to introduce you to Elon Musk. How would you feel?
What would you stoked?
Right? What would you think of that person? It'd be like, really? I owe you so much, right? You're creating this goodwill that will forever suit you as you go out.
Givers get. And when you give without expectation of return, it creates a guaranteed return every single time.
Exactly. And that network is what you're going to use to grow your business, because you can do things like JV. So, for example, me and Cody are on here. You know why? Because we networked. Like, legit.
How do you guys think I get everybody that I get on this show on the show? Because I network with them, because I meet them in places that maybe I pay to be a part of and meet certain people. And then out of that, I take the due diligence to set up and to connect with them and talk with them and get to know them better. And then in and through that, create a relationship that benefits the both of us.
Exactly. And so that's what people need to realize is networking is, and here's the key to networking, right? It is not about taking your business cards to the chamber event and passing them out and giving them, here, take 2 extra, give it to your friends. Not networking. That's being a dick. Networking is about showing up and serving and seeing, how can I help you? Because if everybody shows up with this mindset of, I'm going to figure out how to help Cody. God, what can I do to make Cody's life better? And if Cody's thinking, God, how could I possibly make Justin's life better? Guess what happens? Everybody wins. And that's the thing. In life, in business, we can all win. Spending money with people is the best thing you can do. Like, I guarantee it. Right? Me and Cody have a mutual mentor, business coach, Nicholas. Spending money with him has been a great investment.
Best investment I've ever made in my life was the investments that I made into coaching and masterminds, hands down.
because it brings a high quality of people. You get to expand your network. You get to learn a bunch of stuff. Like, I'm telling you guys, the reason I'm successful, it's not because I'm great at sales. It's because I'm great at helping people. It's because I'm great at connecting people. And that's what I love to do. Being good at sales is just a byproduct, right? So you got to get great at just going out and giving. And that's all networking is. It's, in my opinion, how can I give my way to success?
So we just went over the hour, and it's because we're having so much value that time is going so fast for us, Justin. What I want to do is I want to end with, what is one last piece of advice that you would leave on this topic of starting a business, the sales in a business, the networking, and all in all what it takes to be successful in business? What is one last piece of advice that you would leave us with?
You are not what you do. Humans, take networking, get so caught up. And the first question we usually ask is, so Cody, tell me what you do, right? And people wrap their identity up in what they do. And if they fail at what they do, it makes them as a person a failure. My key to success is I know I'm going to fail. And I'm going to fail big, and it's going to be splendid. And I'm not done failing. But that does not make me a failure. So if you're starting a business, the most important lesson to own is you are not your business. Your business likely will fail. And that's okay. It's not you, right? It's separate. It's something else. You can always succeed if you see yourself as a success. Does that make any sense?
It does. It does. I love that. You are not your business. And that's so powerful, because we live in a culture, like you said, when we meet people, oh, what do you do for a living? And we all want to have this fancy title or this thing to say, oh, I'm a CEO of a company or this or that. And it's honestly wrong, because what you do does not define who you are. Mm-hmm. And even if you do start 10 businesses and all 10 fail, you're not better, but you more courageous than the man or woman that didn't even try to start one. And that says a lot about who you are and your character and your willpower. And I can tell you this, if you keep trying, you will find the success that you're looking for. I failed in probably about 3-4 businesses before I really found something that stuck for me.
Yeah. Yep. Me too. And like I said, I'm going to fail again. I know.
And I'm going to fail more. Heck, I got a bunch of joint ventures going on right now. And, anything can happen, but you don't know until you try. Well, Justin, man, I appreciate your time. I appreciate you coming on here. Is there any way that we can serve you or bring value? I know you have a lot of companies and a lot of things that you do. What do you guys got going on right now?
And so I guess the one way, if you would like to work with me personally at a higher level, one of the companies I own is a tax and bookkeeping company. And we have a mastermind component to working with us. And that's the best way. So if you go to carlottathompson.com, that's our website. You can check that out. The other way, connect with me, guys. Like I said, LinkedIn is where you will find me. If you go to www.justindcstevens.com, it will redirect you to my personal website or my personal LinkedIn, and connect with me. Ask questions. I promise you, if I can make an introduction, I will. If I can help you, I will. So the only thing holding you back is asking.
I like that, brother. I appreciate that. What are some other places on social media that people can connect with you?
I'm on LinkedIn and Facebook, and those
Okay.
are the two platforms I really do. I'm trying to
Well,
get on
guys,
Clubhouse, but I've not, like, I've got on, but I've not done anything on there. So
okay, well, we're going to do a Clubhouse together because this was fire. And imagine who would like to see a Clubhouse where we just dive deep even more for hours into business, sales, networking, and more, and how to start a business. I think that would be fire. So we got to make that happen, brother. But guys, go follow Justin on LinkedIn. Go connect with him on Facebook. He is a man of his word. He is a man of integrity. He is someone that always goes out of his way to serve others, and just so humbled and grateful to have you on the Motivation Everything show, brother. You brought the value, which I know you would. I hope you guys took notes. I got a whole page of them myself. And Justin, I appreciate you, brother.
hey, thank you. Have a great day, my friend.
Awesome. Well, guys, tune in next week, same time, for another episode of the Motivation Everything Show as we begin to amp things up in 2021, constantly bringing value to you so that you can make an impact in your life and step into who you were created to be, live a life of purpose, live a life of intention, and in and through that, create true fulfillment in your life. Get ready, because this year I am bringing the fire. I'm bringing a lineup of incredible guests, and I'm only going to continue to improve this show to make a bigger and better impact on your life. We'll see you next week, guys.